Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Lokesh. So today we'll be discussing about Azure Synapse Analytics Workspace Preview. This is a new service that has been introduced. But before that, let's see the quote of the week. So it's brought to you by James Clear, and it says, "Procrastinating on something important is choosing to delay a better future." So something to ponder about, something to think on. So coming back to the topic for this week, so I'll be taking you through a tour of Azure Synapse Analytics Workspace Preview. This is a new service that has been launched by Microsoft in the last year and is still in the preview mode, and they're still trying to analyze how the service is being used by various customers. And if you ask me, Microsoft is pretty much excited about this service, and they're saying that they're bringing the capabilities of big data analytics and relational analytics under the single roof, which means that your big data developers, the developers who work on the big data, or the data scientists that consume the big data in order to do various machine learnings, as well as the people who work on the relational database, can work together under the same service. They don't have to provision different resources, which means that the collaboration amongst team members is pretty much good, and it's a seamless way of doing analytics. So they found that there are various challenges if you use different tools in order to get the job done. But now Microsoft has given the service where you use a single kind of IDE or a tool where all the different teams can work together under a single roof, and they can get the job done very easily. So they are proposing that the projects which used to take months now can be completed in weeks time, and this is an exciting news as far as developers or the teams are concerned, and also from the client's perspective, which means that they have to pay less. Some of the other features of this service are that it comes with your data lake gen 2 storage, which is used as the source for dumping in all the unstructured and structured data. And you have something called SQL on demand, which can be used to query the raw data under this data lake gen 2 storage, which we will explore this in the coming videos, or maybe in this video. And on top of it, as we said, you can use any language of your choice, with which you are familiar, and you can get the job done. Some of the options are SQL, Python, Scala. You can write your notebooks based on the preferred language. And another challenge that all the analytics projects pose was, if you have different tools, the security models required to monitor those tools or required to administer those tools was different. So now Microsoft is saying that everything can be done under a single sign-on, which means that we don't have to worry about anything as a developer. We can leverage the security system or the model given by the Microsoft, and can get the job done very easily. So let's now take a tour of this service, and I'll be taking you through the different tabs. So there is something called Synapse Studio, which is the heart of the service, where you will find various other windows where we can do different jobs or different sets of jobs. So we'll explore that now, and stay tuned, and we'll continue this video. So let's begin the tour. So first of all, obviously you have to log into the Azure portal. So you can see that I've logged in using my personal email address, and if I go to the all resources, you will find a service of Synapse Workspace type, which we will be exploring, which is nothing but your Azure Synapse Analytics Workspace Preview, the new service that we're talking about. And let's go through the steps that are involved in provisioning the service. So first of all, you just type in Azure Synapse, and it will bring up two services. So I forgot to mention one thing, that Azure Synapse Analytics Workspace Preview is actually the evolution of, or the extension of, Azure Synapse Analytics, formerly SQL DW, which is nothing but your Azure SQL data warehouse, the data warehouse that Azure provides. So they have clubbed 3 or 4 services into this Azure Synapse Analytics, and which we will find shortly. So once you click on this, it will bring up a window, and as you can see that I've already provisioned or created uh, one service, and the name that I've given is First Workspace 2020-07-25. This was created when me and my buddy Subhadeep, we were doing some practical couple of weeks back. So we are very keen to explore these services. Uh, just digressing from the real topic, just wanted to tell you that although we have done the certification, the Azure Data Engineer certification, I mean, you have to do the practical in order to know about the services, in order to know about various things like pricing, how the internal architecture works. So I would suggest you as well to dive into these services if you already have done the certification, and if you're not getting a chance or not given a chance in your project to work on the service. So moving back to Azure Synapse Analytics Workspace Preview, now you just have to create or click on Add, and once you click on Add, a bunch of options will pop up, and you have to select the right ones. For example, it is asking for the resource group. We already have a resource group, we'll select that. And then it's asking for the workspace name. We can give it a name, Test August, today being 3rd of August. We'll give it a name, something like that. And some, I mean, usual properties that you have to specify. There is nothing new in this. I think it was giving some error. Yeah, so the name fulfills all the criteria that is required, so that's why we have chosen this. Just a test one. I'm not going to create it. We will use the already one that has been created, but just wanted to give you a brief introduction that you have to follow these naming conventions for the workspace name. And then it is asking for the data lake storage gen 2. This is something that you need to select, because as we said that this service is a combination of 3 or 4 services. It all requires a sort of data dumping region or the data dumping storage. So in this case, it is asking, Microsoft is saying that you need to select a data lake gen 2 account. If you don't have that, you have to create one. And in terms of cost, it's the cheapest storages that is out there, so Microsoft is good in that. So we already had created one, so let's see which one was that. So that was also created a couple of weeks back, and we will select this. And you need to have a container inside, or a file system inside your data lake gen 2 storage account. And this is a warning or instruction. Let's read it. We will automatically grant the workspace identity data access to the specified account using the contributor role to enable other users to use the storage account after you create your workspace, perform these tasks. So basically it's talking about the security. If some of the other members they try to, or team members or some of the other some of your friends, they try to, if they want to access this storage account, you will have to grant them access. So it's talking on those lines. And now let's go to the security and networking tab, and let's see what's important in here. I think you might not be able to see the complete text, so let me just minimize this window. And so yeah, so this particular these particular settings are for your Azure SQL database, so already Azure SQL data warehouse. So admin user name will be the username that you will use in order to connect to your Azure SQL data warehouse server. Then the passwords that you need to give, we can give any password here. Let's choose a random password, and let's give it a password here. So we have given the password. Unfortunately, it does not match. Let me just type in again. So yeah, so I think the passwords are matching, and it's fulfilling the naming convention as well. And so these are some of the meta data settings that you can specify. So if you want to access uh, your Azure SQL data warehouse through virtual network, you can select this. Or so one thing that you need to understand is SQL pool here refers to the Azure SQL data warehouse, and SQL on demand is a new feature that Microsoft has introduced, wherein you can query the data that is stored in Azure Data Lake Gen 2 with the help of SQL like statements. So you don't have to open the file manually in order to see what data it is before you play with that data. You can use the SQL queries in order to query that data. So after we have done that, we have to click on review and create. So one of the important features that I wanted to show you here is the costing aspect, which I am not able to understand or comprehend completely. We have been in conversation with Microsoft to understand this. So it says that it's 330 INR. Is it a one-time payment, or how does it work? Is it based on if the data is lesser than terabytes? This is something that I need to ask from Microsoft. But if you know about it, if you know what this charge or this cost or this price comprises of, do let me know in the comment box below. So this is something we have to think about. So I'm not going to click on the create option or the create button here, because we already had a service created. So we'll go and use that for our demo purposes, and we'll come back to the all resource and open the first workspace. So this is the service. This is how the service looks like. And as I told in the beginning of the video as well, one of the important things in this service is your Synapse Studio, which you can see on the right side, top right side. And some of the other useful properties are your SQL admin name and SQL endpoint if you want to connect to the databases, Azure Data Warehouse databases, and then your endpoint, on-demand endpoint if you want to connect to the Azure Data Lake storage and want to use simple SQL query like queries in order to explore the data. So we will click on Launch Synapse Studio in order to see what we have in here. So this is the heart of the service where you'll be performing your development work, your day-to-day activities. And let me just expand the topmost or the left window pane, and you can see here you can do bunch of stuff. You can ingest the data, you can explore the data, you can analyze it, and you can even visualize it with the help of Power BI. And there are various tabs here on the left side. First is home, obviously, on which we are currently on, and then you have the data tab. Here you can view your the storage accounts. For example, I already have a storage account, or the data sets that you have created for ADF pipelines, or your warehouse databases. So under a single node or single tab, you can view the entire data sources that you have or that you have been using. And since we have talked about ADF, you don't have to provision the pipelines through an ADF service separately. You can create the pipeline from here itself. And this is how the window looks like, and you can clearly see that this window is similar to the windows that we have for ADF pipelines in the using the ADF service. And if you're not familiar with ADF, I would recommend you to go and search online. You will find lots of videos on ADF. So ADF is your Azure Data Factory. And the only thing that is different here is the Synapse node. I'm not sure what is the reason behind this, because we are still exploring it. Again, if you know about this, you can comment in the comment box below. So this is your ADF. This is where your orchestration will take place using the pipelines. And then we come to develop. Here also you have the option of developing various things. So if we click on plus here, it will ask you for an option whether you want to write a SQL script, whether you want to provision or create a data flow that will be used in a pipeline or a notebook. If you click on notebook, you will find that it will give you an option of selecting which language you want to use. So I want to make corrections here. R is not displayed. Uh, so you have the options of Python, Scala, C Sharp, Spark SQL. So I just wanted to make corrections here. I'll update the slide as well, so that you don't get confused. So yeah, so the point is you can use any language in order to visualize or in order to do analysis on your source data. So this tab is for that. And then you have monitor tab, where you can monitor the for example, if your pipeline is running, you can monitor that. Apart from that, you can monitor the SQL requests, Apache Spark applications as well. And then in the last, you have manage, which will give you the idea of various connections, various triggers. So you can see you can do everything under the single service, and your team. So what it means is the different teams, for example, the data scientists or the data engineers, they will be using one service, and if they want to share their work, they can easily do that with the help of a single service. And yeah, so this was a short tour of the Azure Synapse Analytics Workspace preview. I hope you liked it. If you have further questions, you can ask me, or you can comment your observations in the comment box below. So we'll meet in the next video, guys. Till then, take good care of yourself and stay safe. Bye, guys.